Hi, I'm Tim Gordon of the Film Gordon, and welcome to Real Reviews. On this show, we discuss my views on upcoming films where we invite you to experience film through the eyes of a true film addict. You can also read or listen to past reviews either on thefilmgordon.com or subscribe to this podcast on our YouTube channel. And we also invite you to follow us at Film Gordon on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. This week on the show, we discuss Moxie, a comedy drama film directed by Amy Poehler from a screenplay by Tamara, Chestna, and Dylan Meyer, based on the novel of the same name by Jennifer Mathieu. Fed up with the sexist, and toxic status quo at her high school, a shy 16-year-old finds inspiration from her mother's rebellious past and anonymously publishes a zine that sparks a school-wide coming-of-age revolution. The film stars Hadley Robinson, Alycia Pascual-Peña, Lauren Tsai, Josephine Langford, Patrick Schwarzenegger, and Parsa Ghorbani. Now, back in 2004, Tina Fey wrote a comedy about a group of vindictive high school girls led by the manipulative and vindictive Regina George and her clique, the Plastics, in Mean Girls. Now, one of Fey's closest friends, Amy Poehler, revisits similar elements, returning to high school for an updated look at contemporary high school in the coming-of-age story, Moxie. Now, it's the first day of school at upper crust Rockport High, and Vivian Carter, played by Hadley Robinson, is settling in for another uneventful year where she is preparing to sink back into invisibility and go on with her business. When a new student, Lucy Hernandez, played by Pascual-Peña, questions the status quo, her courage attracts Vivian, who immediately befriends her outspoken classmate. Now, the more time Vivian spends with Lucy, the more it becomes clear that there are plenty of women like them that are marginalized, overlooked, and abused at their school. Now, taking a cue from her outgoing mother, she secretly begins writing a zine that encourages her female classmates to express their individuality. As the zine begins to catch fire, everyone wants to know who the author is. Instead of claiming ownership, Vivian stays in the shadows as her creation begins a movement at Rockport High. As her classmates mobilize and start a new club called Moxie, Vivian begins to understand that there are consequences to her rebellious actions, but is still not courageous enough to stand up and reveal the truth. But will the events around her creation force her hand? Now, in addition to so many young women who are finding their voice, we also learned that there's a culture, a toxic one at it, that has been developed over time that rewards bad behavior from some entitled students, as well as a history of teachers and administrators simply turning their heads instead of disciplining those that they know are fallible. Meanwhile, with a vacuum in leadership, Lucy has stepped up and begun to organize the Rebel Girls, leading to not just the fresh breath of activism air at the school, but also the ire of the school administrators who are trying to quell their movement. Now, Poehler, pulling double duty in her follow-up film to her 2019 debut Wine Country, also co-stars as the free-spirited mother whose actions serve as an inspiration for her impressionable young daughter. Pascual-Peña shines again as a spark of energy that leads to the actions that liberate an entire class of female students. Now, fresh off her work on the rebooted Saved by the Bell, Pascual-Peña needs a comedy after 2 straight edgy performances. Robinson, despite the fact that she is top bill, provides the story's point of view, but the screenplay doesn't offer her much of an opportunity to truly stretch in the role. Sure, we see her transformation from a shy girl to an activist, but the fact that her character toils in anonymity for so long before finally embracing her role as a leader may have played into her underwhelming performance. Not as accomplished or memorable as Mean Girls, Poehler's film is aspirational and a solid follow-up. Now, to be fair, there's a glut of YA or young adult stories being released that many simply are falling between the cracks and forgotten. Moxie feels like the next iteration of a Mean Girls story that continues to highlight the frustration that too many young women are faced with in high school. While the times may change, human interaction remains constant as young people try to navigate from the tender years of high school to adulthood. As this film illustrates, it takes a lot of moxie to make that transition to become who you will eventually become. We gave Moxie a C+, and this film will debut Wednesday, March the 3rd on Netflix. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel or read current or past reviews on thefilmgordon.com. You can also follow us at Film Gordon on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Thank you, and we'll see you guys on the other side. You have a wonderful day.